tonight on the Sunday night chill stream. I made it tonight. I wasn't even sure if I was going to be here, but Donald Trump doubles down on his delusion and starts playing with fire, and the rest of the world is going to take notice. Also, I'm no longer drinking my cheap Sunoco Station Sauvignon Blanc. No more will I drink that swill. I was in the Hamptons this afternoon, and I've got a bottle of much higher class and more expensive grape juice. Anyway, let's see what happens. Talk to you guys in 2 minutes. And we're back. Welcome, everyone. Welcome back to the show, your number one source for adversarial thinking, for anti-Semitism, for racism, for homophobia, for misogyny, for all the bad things. This is the place to be. The least professional, least produced of all, of all shows like this at all. I've been watching some content that I thought I would show, but I don't think I'm going to do it because I realize a lot of these people are super slick. They're being produced, and small creators, relatively small people who don't have a big audience that want to grow their channel, and I don't want to grow my channel, of course. But you just film stuff. You do whatever you're going to do in front of a camera, and you throw in video clips and stuff like that. And you send it off to there's different outfits that edit it to make you look cool and smart and slick and professional. And everything you see is done that way these days. And that makes me very suspicious. Makes me super suspicious, particularly the ones that are like, that seem to be, that imply that they're going to tell the truth about things. They go, well, there's no difference between the left and the right, or the Republicans and Democrats, and blah, 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 blah. And there's this one guy, he's got this weird look and this weird voice. What the fuck is his name? Pissed Magistratus or something. I don't know what it is. But he's going, blah, 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 immigration, thus and such. And poor white people have more in common with the brown-skinned immigrants than the elites at the top. And I'm like, do we really? Like, we've been getting robbed by the central bank, the Federal Reserve, our entire lives, probably our parents' entire lives, maybe even depending on what age you are, your grandparents' entire lives. We've been robbed, getting nothing from it, fighting their wars, doing all this sort of shit. And now all these brown skinned people come here from overseas and they get free housing and free medical and free food and all this stuff. And I'm like, do I have, I don't know that I have more in common with a working class parasite than I do with somebody with the same skin tone. There's, like, and the guy's like, oh, they're afraid of unity. They're afraid of unity. And America's racist, blah, 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 blah. And I find that a very tedious, poorly thought out argument. And everyone knows I'm not a fan of unity. I don't like unity callers. I find you all worthless fucking jerk-offs. Because if you cannot recognize what's in your own self-interest, how the fuck am I going to persuade you? You know, it's one of the things I realized about me doing this show, doing this channel, is like, I'm not going to fucking persuade anybody. It's literally impossible for me to persuade people at all. And people, I was thinking like Ziggy the Polak. Ziggy the Polak, I told him to buy Bitcoin when it was like $25,000. He was like, blah, 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 bullet, you know, fuck you, bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. It's not real money. Well, now apparently he's noticed we're at 67, 68. We're about hovering right around 68 at the moment. So we've pumped quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. After, of course, after BlackRock managed to get all of Germany's Bitcoin. BlackRock stole Hitler's Bitcoin, and now we're not really pumping because we're not in new territory, but we're recovering back what had gone down over the last few months. And Ziggy's like, yeah, I have real money. I don't have phony Bitcoin, but it's on his mind. Like, it's on his mind, and he can't look back and go, oh shit, I fucking, you know what? I made a mistake. I got to look at this again. I got to do it differently. Maybe I should adjust what I'm doing. He can't do that, right? And most people can't do that. And I can't. I am far too weak, far too unpersuasive, and I just don't fucking care enough to even try to get you to rethink your position. You either get it and then you make whatever changes you need to make in your life, or you sit there withholding your approval and sneering at at everything that doesn't meet whatever fucking set of criteria you think are important. And I will tell you to have fun staying for, and I will go on my merry fucking way. And that's all I can do. And so, realizing that this is just the way it's going to be, I will more than happily do what I'm doing. And if you get it, great. If you don't get it, well, have fun doing something else. All the stuff I've talked about recently is just ever more true. Although I guess the biggest news, this is the biggest news. This is the news of the news, right? The SEC approves an Ethereum ETF. And I've theorized that in order to protect the US dollar, and that's really what it is, in order to protect the US dollar and to get a 21st century scam going, the US federal government, which runs Ethereum, needs a shitcoin network to rug pull everyone. The way you own nothing and you're happy is you're like a degenerate gambler. You're taking whatever little resources you have and you're betting it all on whatever the fuck it is. You know what I mean? Whatever meme coin is popping up at the moment, and you get that dopamine rush from what's going to happen. Are all my dreams going to come true? Will I get the pretty girlfriend and the Lamborghini, the big house and the swimming pool, blah, 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 blah. And all of that floods through your head, right? And the dopamine rush, and that's the degenerate gambler, turning you into a degenerate gambler, right? And then you find out you got rug pulled. Oh, that sucks. And then you're going to go argue with some clerk in a fucking 7-Eleven over, which bag of chips is fucking a better value or something. You're going to be screaming at the top of your lungs because your favorite bag of fucking chips is gone from $1.99 to $2.25, and you're losing your shit over it, even though you just dumped your entire paycheck on fucking porno coin or some dumb shit in the hopes that, all your dreams will come true. But you'll just be miserable until you get your next dopamine rush, your next dopamine fucking hit, and you will have nothing. And you will be happy because you will have found a way to pump dopamine through your fucking system in a very intense fashion that blocks out all rational thought. So, and the Ethereum network is a huge, huge, huge part of that. That's necessary for 24/7 casino. And meanwhile, the people with real fiat wealth, big, they don't have big bags of fiat, but they have a lot of wealth, right? And the ultra wealthy gained $49 trillion in the last couple of years due to the stock market and COVID and all the pumping. So 49 trillion, even in inflated dollars, is still quite a bit. And so that just gives them more and more power. Even though they've gained 49 trillion, this has happened. And I've said this is going to be a thing. The U.S. office vacancy rate hit a record high, of 19%, surpassing the levels seen in 2008 and 2020. In other words, roughly 1 out of every 5 offices in the U.S. is currently vacant, and $1.7 trillion of commercial real estate debt is projected to mature. That is to say, these mortgages have to be paid off from 2024 to 2026. That means 30% of the outstanding commercial real estate debt will need to be refinanced at much higher rates. Either that or they default, and then the banks go under, and then what happens? And I think all of this is going to hit in the end of the first year of Trump's presidency, of his second term, which I actually did see a video clip where he didn't say I took a bullet for America. He said I took a bullet for democracy. If only America was a democracy. We are not. We are not a democracy, have not been a democracy since 1913, since the creation of the Federal Reserve. Let's be honest. Yeah, so Trump at this point is so fucking delusional. You'd think what little brains he had did get blown out by that bullet, because I think at this point he's so fucking out of his mind. Like, he really fucking thinks. He really thinks that he can do anything, that he has every skill, that he has all skill, and he does not have all skill. This is a quick 1 minute, 30-second video of, and I'm 100. When I first saw this, I was like, what does this mean? What's going on? What narrative are they trying to spin? And then I realized this is just Trump fucking being the fucking narcissistic whack job that he is. And it's actually funnier than the end of it is actually pretty funny. But this, I don't know if this made the rounds on TV, but it popped up on my feed, and I thought this was funny as fuck.
Look at the uniform that all of them are wearing. They're all in their blue suit and their red tie, the Trump uniform. Every single one of them, it seems that they shopped at the same store and got the exact same suit and the exact same tie. There's also just the fact that the people that Donald Trump is surrounding himself with aren't exactly legal angels. You have Chuck Zito. Chuck Zito was an outlaw in a motorcycle gang in New York City, the Hells Angels. He spent years in prison on drug charges. Boris Epstein, Donald Trump's legal advisor, indicted in Arizona regarding the fake electors scheme. Bernie Kerik, the former commissioner of the New York City Police Department, who was in prison for tax-related charges and then later pardoned by Donald Trump. Alan Dershowitz, beginning in 2015, Dershowitz was involved in a series of defamation lawsuits and countersuits over allegations he engaged in sexual misconduct. He denied them. Matt Gaetz, Representative Gaetz, is being investigated by the House Ethics Committee over allegations that include sexual misconduct. He's also denied any wrongdoing. Jason Miller, Donald Trump's spokesperson, owes Geo Media, formerly Gizmodo Media Group, nearly $42,000 in legal expenses after he tried and failed to sue the company for accurately reporting on legal filings stipulating he'd secretly drugged his pregnant mistress with an abortion pill. The people that he's surrounding himself with, I mean, if the jury knows anything about them, and maybe they don't know the details of some of these allegations against each of these individuals, but he's not surrounding himself with angels, but rather hell's angels.
Well, very true, and literally.
So this is 100% Trump-like, he's the leader of the gang now, right? He's a badass. He's been shot, blah, 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 blah. The two guys who actually have done prison time, Chuck Zito, I never met that guy, but I was somewhere where he was way back in the day, like 2003, when I first got back into motorcycling. I hooked up with this group of guys, and they were like, we're going up to a place called Marcus Dairy. And like Marcus, the name Marcus's Dairy. It was in Connecticut. I don't even think it's open anymore. It's not, but it was a working dairy farm. And like the first Sunday of the month or whatever, it was like everybody would ride up there. Everybody would ride there and hang out, and there was like a restaurant or a coffee shop or whatever. And it was an excuse to go for a ride, and a long ride, and I don't know, just hang out with hundreds of other dudes. Well, so I went up there with this crew, and this was a fucked up group ride, because the guy leading it was didn't explain anything to anybody, just took off like a fucking bat out of hell. And the guy who convinced me to go on this thing was miles behind, and I was like in between the rubber band. I was trying to keep the leader in sight, see which way he's turning, and keep the other guy behind me, like seeing me. It was a fucking mess. Anyway, I get up there, and you're just, it's this fucking dork fest. It's all just guys in their motorcycles. And so at one point, they would have like vendors. They had vendors and shit that doing a bunch of stuff. So there was a table with a guy, turned out to be Chuck Zito, and a stack of books. He had written a book about being in the Hells Angels, I guess. And he's sitting there with like 2 or 3 super large Hells Angel bros, although they were not wearing their colors, but whatever, they weren't wearing their little uniform. And he's like, I guess they thought it was a good, like, his publisher must have sent him there thinking, yeah, motorcycle people dig this. This is a regular event. We'll send Chuck Zito to Hell's Angel there, and we'll sell a lot of books. But most recreational motorcyclists don't like the Hells Angels. They're afraid of the Hells Angels. They don't want anything to do with them. So Chuck Zito was sitting there all by himself. And I had no idea who the fuck he was, but somebody came up to me and said, oh, the Hells Angels are here. I'm like, what the fuck? What do you mean? I didn't see anybody come in. I didn't see like a group of guys come in. They're like, no, that guy's sitting over there. See that guy over there? He's in the Hells Angels. And he was the guy, Chuck Zito, of course, with a stack of books. And there was a very tall red-haired girl who was, I would not say super attractive, and she was carrying a bit more body weight than I thought she needed. But she looked at him like he was a fucking rock star. And that's all I know of Chuck Zito. But I probably stood 50 feet from him at one point, and he's just some fucking jerk who's on steroids. He was once a drug dealer that owned motorcycles. The other guy, Bernard Kerik, I read the book. I read his autobiography, his biography, and this guy's a fucked up dude. His mother was a prostitute in Ohio, and she used to turn tricks in her house. And he never knew his father, and most of her clients were black. And she would hang a bed sheet like fucking between partition of the room, and little Bernie Kerik would be on one side of the bed sheet while she was conducting her business on the other side of the bed sheet. And this made him a truly fucked up kid. He was the bully of the neighborhood, beating the crap out of everybody and taking their money because he didn't, because he could. And then he discovered karate school, and then he would take the money. He would beat kids up, take their money, and then go give it to the karate school guy to learn beat people up even better. And he did that for a number of years until he found out you could join the U.S. Army, and they would send you to Asia and you could go learn to karate chop people while being in the Army. So, of course, he joined the Army, he ended up going to Korea. He made some woman pregnant there and abandoned her, and blah, 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 blah. Came back to the U.S. after his tour in Asia. Wasn't sure what he was going to do, and somehow, some way, he had hooked up with some guys doing security work, some Green Beret bros, early contractors back in the day, doing security work in Saudi Arabia. So he went to do security work in Saudi Arabia, did that a number of years, and then came back, hooked up with his buddy that he knew in the Army in Korea, and they were going to become cops in Carteret, New Jersey, which is such a nothing town. It's unreal. It's a tiny little place, like one exit below Newark, or two exits below Newark. And Carrick said, no, we got to join the New York City Police Department, because back then New Jersey residents could join the NYPD. They did. He was notorious as a fucking headbanger on the street. They put him on 42nd Street, and that was like just 42nd Street. That's all, which was Midtown South. And he was considered like a holy terror, like beat the fuck out of anybody. You can imagine what he did to fucking black dudes, black pimps, and the white prostitutes back then. Must have been a fucking. He must have terrified. He must have fucking tortured them, considering he grew up with his mother getting, his mother prostituting herself to black guys on the other side of a bedsheet who was supposed to be watching cartoons or doing his homework. Back and forth, back and forth. He becomes head of the NYPD, and his guys are the guys that find Muhammad Atta's passport on 9/11. And then he becomes something of a hero, right? Him and Giuliani, post 9/11 years, were like fucking superheroes. That's when the book came out. They sent him to Iraq. He became the his friends at the deep state said, "Oh, we know that guy." After we destroyed Iraq, they sent him back to rebuild the Iraqi police department. God knows what the fuck he did over there. But he didn't last too long, because keeping him away from females, because he will fuck anything with the pulse. He has so many like illegitimate children, ex-wives. It's ridiculous. He's a sexual compulsive, unsurprisingly, and they got him for, I guess, for tax evasion. But what he did was he had some apartment that, like $1 million apartment that he got from the fucking book sales and blah 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 everything else, and a contractor gave him a sweetheart deal on some work in the apartment, and he recommended that contractor to be a city contractor, and that's 100% illegal. And that's what they got him for, and then they sent him away to prison. That, but Trump has rehabilitated him, because Trump's a gangster, and Chuck Zito's a Hells Angels gangster, and then the rest are just fat Jewish guys who cheated on their taxes with Alan Dershowitz. Cucamonga, did he ever dance with Giuliani in drag? I do not know. Cucamonga. I'm not sure that Giuliani was a drag queen. I know he was an opera fan, but I don't know that he was a drag queen. I don't know that the two are necessarily related. But the point is, Bernard Kerik is a very fucked up human being who has deep state connections going way back, and he'll fucking do anything. And Trump gets him to fucking come out there in the little red, white, blue uniform, the American gangster uniform. Did I ever meet Trump? No, I did not. I got kidnapped. Well, not kidnapped. Sort of kidnapped. On two occasions. On one occasion, I had to drive some aircraft parts to Long Island for the Trump family plane, and normally they just leave me the fuck alone. And whatever amount of time I had to do it, like 3 or 4 hours, I was like an hour and a half ahead of schedule, and my phone kept blowing up. How soon do you get there? How soon do you get there? Didn't tell me what the fucking deal was. And when I came off the Long Island Expressway and I got to the airport, what was the address? 2221 Smithtown Avenue, something like that. All right. When I went around the hangar, I saw the fucking Trump family plane. I'm Normally what I do is I just go in with the little box, and I go, hi, how you doing? I'm from so-and-so, and I give the tail number of the plane, and the person at the front desk signs a slip for me just so I know what their name is. And that's it, I leave. And they saw me, they're like, oh, go around to the hangar, go ring the bell, do this and that, blah, blah, blah. They want that right away. They want that right away. And I don't know what the fuck it was. But it was a part for his family plane, the one with his name on it. And they acted like it was a fucking end of the world that they get this fucking thing. And they probably didn't, probably weren't going to move the fucking plane for 3 days. He was already president, so he's not used to that plane. His kids are used to the plane. That was one time. And then another time, there's an airport I wouldn't say because he's probably going to do it again. I don't want to say it. There's a small airport where he flies into, not with Air Force One, with other planes. It's other government planes that look just like Air Force One, but they're small. And they can land at this other airport near where his golf club is in Jersey. And one time, I mentioned this, I noticed there was a shit ton of cops all over the place and then state troopers. And I'm like, oh shit. And I'm going into this airport. And I turned down the last road to go to the building where I'm going to deliver the parts to, and I see all these fucking black SUVs. Like, they look like something out of a Hollywood movie. Like 10, 12 of these fucking things. And I was like, oh fuck, Trump's coming in. And I was like, I quick parked my fucking car, and I was gonna not run into the building, but in front of the building was a truck with a portable X-ray machine, and there was a dude who I've described as in the past. This guy did not look like a normal fit at all. This guy was fucking monstrously scary. I described him as a man who has never lost a fight. Like, as a child, if he wanted a cookie and mom didn't want him to have the cookie, fuck you, mom, you're going down. It's my cookie. This guy was like the scariest human being I've ever seen in my entire life. And in a physical confrontation, losing is what you do, right? His role is to win, and that's always what he's done. And I thought to myself, well, I'm going to fucking mouth off to this guy. I'm going to talk some shit. That's what I thought when I was like 50 feet away from him. Then when I looked at his eyes, I was like, nah, I'm just going to play it straight. So I give the box to the guy. It's a small piece, like the size of a loaf of bread. And they run it through the X-ray machine. They give it back to me. And guy says, what's in the box? I said, aircraft parts. He said, okay. I said, usually someone just comes to sign for it. He says, I'll have somebody come out to you. He makes a call on a radio, but it's some fuck up. Nobody comes out. And there's this long, uncomfortable silence where I'm staring at him. He's fucking staring at me. And I'm like, and then finally, I said, listen, anybody can sign for it. Doesn't have to be front desk. Could be a mechanic. Could be just give me a name on this piece of paper, and I'm out of here. And he wants to be gone because he didn't know what the fuck I am. He wants everything clear. So somebody comes out, signs the fucking thing, and I'm like practically running to my fucking car to get out of the airport because I'm hoping that Trump's plane is still too far away, but he must have been in whatever fucking 5 minutes out or whatever. Because I get to the end of the road and the state troopers pull me over and they direct me to a parking lot and say, you go there, wait there, shut the car off, and don't move until we tell you to move. And so that's that. I had to wait there for like 40 fucking minutes until they were gone. Dude, is Bensonhurst Asian these days? Has been for decades. Has been literally since the 90s. Fucking Chinese wall to wall. They bought all those fucking brownstones and all those buildings there, and they put. It's really pretty. It's stainless steel, like not screen doors. They're like screen doors, but they're thick, like thick as your wrist, stainless steel to keep diversity from coming into their homes. It looks lovely. It's bright shiny silver with fucking leaves in it and stuff. But you see that all over the neighborhood. They bought the houses and then they fucking armor plated the fucking doors. Where are all the Italians? I don't know. I guess they're well, because the I don't know what train line runs on 86th Street. I can't remember which one it is. You can't stop diversity from coming in and out of the neighborhood, and they want to sleep safely. That's the fact that we can't do that. Yes, is insane. But I don't think it's going to change anytime soon. don't think it's going to change at all anytime soon. Have I been by the old Trump family home in Queens? I don't know where the fuck it is, and I wouldn't seek it out. It doesn't do much for me. Trump is, this is his fucking, listen, right now, enjoy the high. I want to tell Ziggy this next time I fucking see him, because it's fucking all downhill from here, man. It is all fucking downhill from here. And the fact that commercial real estate might collapse is not going to be his fault. But of course, the people that hate him, they're out of their minds. They hate him. They're going to try and blame everything on him, but nothing's going to fucking stick. The problem is domestically, he can show you Chuck Zito and Bernard Carrick and blah, 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 blah. And like, oh, they're tough guys and they've been to prison. And you know what? Nobody in Lebanon gives a fuck. And the Houthis in Yemen don't give a fuck. Nobody in Iran gives a fuck. They don't care. This is all for domestic consumption. Donald Trump, the gang leader, blah, 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 blah. Him and all his felon friends. It's unwise cultural narrative. Speaking of cultural narratives, to promote gangster worship, it's a bad idea. Whether it's black rappers or whether it's guys in red, white, and blue suits who are doing other things. It's not a good idea, and it's in fact diametrically opposed to what he said in his first term. Was like, we're gonna have law and order. Yeah, that worked real well. While BLM was very fucking literally burning the entire fucking country. But yeah, the Houthis are not at all fucking impressed. They don't give a fuck. And our friends, the Houthis, by the way, this what the fuck did I pick? This is like $24 bottle of Southampton Sauvignon Blanc, by the way. That shows I'm truly a classy motherfucker. Truly a classy motherfucker. Can Houthis take out an aircraft carrier? Well, I think they can. I think they can. That's why we're not. That's why we're not sending one over there. Although here's a video of them. They're hitting an oil tanker called the Chios Lion, which the name stuck out to me because Chios is a name of an island in Greece, and turns out this is an Israeli-owned oil tanker flagged in Liberia, but they're all flagged. It's run by a Greek crew, and they just attacked this not that long ago. Check it out. So apparently they attacked it with a drone boat or some sort of attack speedboat that was unmanned. Now, the internet says that the ship was not sunk and it was only lightly damaged. And but you gotta wonder what the fuck did the crew think? And like, they don't even need to sink anything at that point. If you're on that ship and you're trying to get from point A to point B and something like that happens, you're not being paid enough to fucking get back on the boat. You know what I mean? You're not paying me enough to do that. Just like Chai, the based Persian Muslim guy. Shalom, sir. Shalom from the West Coast. Yeah, the Houthis are not exactly playing around. And with the world the way it is, this is since Judas Fly Chai is here. I don't know if you see this. I don't know if you get this paper, but the Jerusalem Post is God an anti-Semite. I thought this was absolutely hilarious. I don't know if anybody's ever seen this, but apparently one day, for no reason whatsoever, God, I guess because he's jealous of the success of the Jews, decided to become an anti-Semite. That's how fucking that. Can you imagine how fucking demented these people are? Just like in the chat, smash up that like button. Yes, sir. I would suggest everyone, past and future, smash up the like button. It's good. It builds character. It builds character, is what I would say. The Heaves do not want you to smash that like button. Yes, it is smashing up the like button on this channel in particular is an act of anti-Semitism, and apparently is godly as well. If you believe the Jerusalem Post, I do not necessarily believe the Jerusalem Post, but it's hilarious that that's not Haaretz or some whacked out paper. That's like this is our very serious newspaper. You know what I mean? The Jerusalem Post. Does God hate the Jews? What do I think of J.D. Vance and Trump and Vance for Bitcoin? Vance owns Bitcoin. Has for a while. He owns something in the low six figures, which is fine. I mean, I've said last week that I said incorrectly last week. We have a Bitcoiner in the White House. J.D. Vance is not in the White House. He's in the fucking Naval Observatory or whatever's down the street from the White House where the vice president is. But we have a Bitcoiner as the number two, the second most powerful man in the United States. So the number two in the United States is a Bitcoiner. It's not just Senator Cynthia Lummis and a couple of congressmen. 250K or 100K or whatever it is Vance has. I mean, obviously that's not his. It's not the core of his wealth, but it's the fact that he's a Bitcoiner is a big deal because we're everywhere and we're going to win. Judas Fly Chai in the chat. Trump is a fraud. Oh yes, sir. He most definitely is, and that's the problem with parading around Bernard Kerik and Alan Dershowitz. After we bomb you to smithereens, I'll sue you. That's who the fuck is this? Other than like some fucking 4-year-old child trying to hang onto his fucking underwear. Who's afraid of fucking Alan Dershowitz? But the Houthis, let's stay with the Houthis for a bit because there are people reporting on the Houthis. I won't do this whole thing. I'll do it like half, and then I'll show you the actual Houthi propaganda, which I got to tell you is getting slicker and slicker every time. But here's some white kid who's talking about this whole thing.
Israel has just been embarrassed like we've never seen before. The Houthis in Yemen fired a drone from over 2,500 kilometers away, and they've hit Israel's capital, Tel Aviv. And not only that, Israel's air defense failed to notice the drone and they failed to shoot it down. And because of this, Tel Aviv has now been classed as an unsafe area of Israel. And quite weirdly, the drone actually flew into Israel via the Mediterranean, which means it must have flown over Egypt and then across into Israel. And because of this, it suggests that the Houthis in Yemen actually have backhand secret information about Israel's air defense radars and their blind spots. Now, according to most media outlets, only one Israeli was killed in the strike.
Okay, so you might not have seen that the Houthis hit Tel Aviv. They killed one person and did some mild damage, but the slickness of the propaganda is what's impressive. I got a video here. It's 1 minute and 3 seconds. This is a Houthi propaganda video, and the way they tied in the music at the end is showing me these motherfuckers are crazy confident and more sophisticated than you believe.
انتصارا لمظلومية الشعب الفلسطيني ومجاهديه وردا على مجازر العدوان الإسرائيلي بحق إخواننا في غزة نفذ سلاح الجو المسير في القوات المسلحة اليمنية بعون الله تعالى عملية عسكرية نوعية تمثلت في استهداف أحد الأهداف المهمة في منطقة يافا المحتلة ما يسمى إسرائيليا تل أبيب. وقد نفذت العملية بطائرة مسيرة جديدة اسمها يافا قادرة على تجاوز المنظومات الاعتراضية للعدو ولا تستطيع الرادارات اكتشافها، وقد حققت العملية أهدافها بنجاح. إن القوات المسلحة اليمنية تعلن منطقة
So you got the Yemeni, whatever, foreign minister, or defense minister, shouting at you in Arabic, and nobody knows what the fuck he's saying. But when they bring in the techno music, you know what I mean, at the end, that's on like so many fucking videos on Instagram and YouTube and stuff, and I guess TikTok as well. I don't have TikTok, but my point is, this is super slick propaganda. This is super slick, and that again, that soundtrack at the end, that's twisting the fucking knife in a way that I don't think no one's done previously. Okay, let's look into chat. What's a Trump is a fraud. Yes, you said that, all right. And you don't need to be a statesman to recognize the value of Bitcoin. You are correct, sir. Bitcoin is the one way you can store the value of your life in a way that others cannot steal it. Just so happens in this day and age that those others wear small hats and do not eat bacon. Kuchalango, or was it from Lebanon? Are you talking about the drone that hit Tel Aviv? I don't know. I don't think the Lebanese have them, but let us see. Judas Fly Chai, unhappy about that. Can't wait to see the Arabs get BTFO'd. Screen cap this, perhaps, and this is what I think is the biggest deal. Trump thinks he's fucking invincible. Trump thinks he's fucking because he came this close to death once. He feels like whatever, like as if he wasn't enough of a narcissistic psychopath before this. He's going to be the best general, the best tactician, the best this, the best that, and he's none of those things. He's absolutely none of those things. And the boys in Yemen, the Lebanese, the Iranians, the Iraqis, whoever else are going to fucking join in on this, are much better at this than he is. And I think this is where this is going to be really fucking bad, because I think the Trump cult in America and even worldwide, I grabbed the video, but there was some chick from Ireland who said, fucking Trump, I fucking despise him, but when he got shot and he pumped his hand, I was like, fucking A, America, fucking A. And she was the lucky bastard. If he went out a window, he'd fall off. And she was right. He is super lucky. And he's going to grossly misinterpret that. And this is America in decline. We are a fucking nation in decline. We are not the America of the 1990s of George Bush, H.W. Bush, where we got this huge technologically advanced army that we can and kids that are willing to sit in the desert for 6 months before we go after Saddam Hussein. We don't have Desert Storm or Desert Shield anymore. In the last 20 years, we've burned up every fucking body that we had that we could get into a fucking uniform and ship over there. Nobody wants to go anymore. Nobody wants to fucking fight anymore. They'll try and do it all with drones or some other fucking technological fix, but it just isn't going to work. Judas Fly Chai, Trump assassination attempts was a hoax. It most certainly was not a hoax. The kid's a standard left-wing whack job, and if he would have been really trained as an assassin, he would have shot center mass. He would have shot center mass with something that would whatever Trump wears underneath his clothing. He probably wears like there's different levels of body armor, level 2, level 3, whatever. He would have shot center mass, or he would have shot just for the throat. You know what I mean? At 200 yards, you could shoot this easy fucking peasy. Kuchalango, crazy hype video, like the Bills versus the Jets. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a slightly more intense than sports ball, but we're going to get into sports and its importance in politics. Let's go. Let's do. Should I do that? I guess we should start with that. Where's my man? I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Mark Zuckerberg is going to be president of the United States. And the way he's going to be president of the United States is going to become by being the most popular. Right now, Trump is insanely popular. Even the sick negative popularity of the people who hate him, they think about him nonstop. Although living rent-free in your head is not quite, people say that like it's some kind of big flex. It's not that much of a flex. However, both the people who love him and hate him think of him constantly, and this gives him a sort of a cultural power that that previous office holders didn't really have. Like he has it. It doesn't have to be manufactured. But this guy, they have to make it. Remember this?
Yeah. Wait. Are you ready? Because the pressure's on you.
Okay. Don't fuck this up. Don't fuck this up.
Really okay. So he's coming in. Now he's there right now. He's gonna look. Okay. Now give him. There you go. I like it. That's what we're doing.
Mark Zuckerberg backstage at UFC 300. His wife dressed. He's in a white T-shirt, dressed like a bum. His wife is dressed in like a Chinese hooker. And she's greasing up some dude, greasing up Vaseline on his face. And he shows up at the UFC all the time. Now the UFC is corrupt. The UFC is fucking rigged in a number of different ways, and you know that because Mark Zuckerberg's involved. But this is a bigger deal than a lot of you fucking think. And I got two videos. One is longish. One is rather longish. Here's what you need to understand. Let's fucking nerd out on mixed martial arts. Let's nerd out on mixed martial arts. I got two videos. One is extremely long. It's not that long. It's 7 minutes and 38 seconds. I should have cut it, but because I didn't have the time. It's an introduction to the guy's YouTube channel. I'm a subscriber to this dude. And it's about a sport called Pankration, which was mixed martial arts in pre-Christian Greece. 7 minutes, 38 seconds. You watch this, you will know more about Pankration than most people who consider themselves experts. I'm going to show you the long version, then I got a short version on the other end, but there's a lot to this, and most of this involves fucking pieces of clay.
Hey everyone, my name is Athanasios Bonas. I am a published Pankration researcher, and this is a new series I'm thinking of making on a consistent basis, perhaps weekly or bi-weekly, where I focus on a single vase and give you a full rundown of its history and an analysis of the iconography, which will either be Pankration, wrestling, boxing, or workout depictions. Consider this video as somewhat of an experiment, where I can gauge your reaction and see if it's a good idea to continue making these, because I'm looking for a way to produce simple yet educational videos that don't require tens or hundreds of hours of editing like some of my other content on the channel. Something I can do while writing the book to keep a consistent stream of videos going up. So, whether you like it or don't, let me know, because I will base the future of this series entirely on your feedback. Now, today we're going to be looking at perhaps the most famous amphora displaying Pankration, found in the Metropolitan Museum in New York. For starters, I want to give credit to the Met for making these images public domain. Words cannot express how much I despise museums that keep vases and other artifacts hidden in storage or placed behind needless copyright paywalls, but rant aside, good on the Met for this. Still, I can't just solely give them praise. I have to grill them a little bit for their description of the vase. Look at this. The inclusion of the judge may highlight the particular danger of the event to the competitors. Okay, so kind of like the referee in this picture, who really does accentuate the immense and imminent danger that the event poses to the life of these tennis players. I mean, they're so fixated on making Pankration out to be a bloodbath that they don't even care if what they're saying makes sense or not. Come on guys, what did they pay you? I'll give you double. Anyway, on to the vase. This is a black figure amphora from the first quarter of the 5th century BCE. It was found in Vulci in Italy. This amphora was originally given as a prize in the Panathinaike Games, which occurred in Athens every 4 years in the 3rd year of the Olympiad. The event lasted 8 days and included athletic contests for boys, youths, and men, as well as poetry and music competitions. These games are classified as chrematitis, meaning that the champions would receive monetary prizes. The winner and sometimes the runner-up were awarded with a number of amphorae filled with olive oil, produced from the sacred grove of Athena at Academia. A Pankratias champion, for example, would receive 80 such amphorae, while the runner-up would receive 16. To put Pankration's popularity in context, boxers and wrestlers would receive 60 amphorae, while the runner-ups got 12. This particular vase held about 37 liters of olive oil, while the average amphora would hold around 40 liters. Multiply that by 80 vases and yeah, that's a lot of olive oil. Especially if you consider that 40 liters, so basically one vase, held enough for 2 to 3 people to use in an entire year. Hence, many athletes would either sell some amphorae or dedicate them to sanctuaries. But it wasn't just the olive oil. The vases themselves were state commissioned and crafted in the best workshops in all of Athens. 1,450 of these amphorae were given in each event, and overall, less than 1% of these vases have survived. The way you can tell this amphorae is a Panathenaic prize is from both the image of Athena Promachos on one side and of course the writing Ton Athenethen Athlon, which is roughly translated as the Athenian prize. And I say roughly because there really isn't a good way to translate the word Athlon in English. As you can see, the letters and spelling in the Greek inscription are quite different. There's no eta and the lambda is sort of upside down. That's because this writing uses the pre-Euclidean Attic alphabet to the image of the goddess Athena. Firstly, the Pegasus on the shield, which is a device that lets you know who actually painted the vase, and that would most likely be Cleophradis. After the 6th century BC, you don't have artist signatures on prize amphorae, so painters would make a distinctive shield device to differentiate themselves. The columns with the roosters and what they symbolize is a mystery. But the image of Athena really is magnificent. She wears a helmet with a large crest, an earring, a koyo bracelet, the aegis, a robe called ependitis, which reaches down to the midsection and is worn over a peplos, which is a garment that reaches down to the ankles. Look at the pattern and details of her clothing and the distinct color of her skin on what is otherwise a black figure vase. On the other side of the amphorae, we have the Pankration depiction. On the right, you see the judge holding a ravdos, the two-pronged stick, and he wears a himation. And you can see how intricately these were made. It's definitely not just a white monochrome bedsheet you throw over the shoulder like portrayed in the media. Finally, to the Pankratias. The attacker is standing southpaw, which you can tell from the twist of his body. He is executing a rear leg front kick using the ball of the foot, so not a push kick with the heel. This technique would be called tiptin lax, or just tiptin, and is a jab to the midsection. If he was doing a push kick, he wouldn't be twisting his torso as much, he would be striking with the flat of the foot or the heel, and both arms would be held higher, as you can see in this face depiction. That kick would be called apolaktizing. I know that in Human Weapon, and in most other media, they call this kick gastrizing. But gastrizing just means a strike to the gastra, which means belly, so it could be any type of kick. The defender has an orthodox stance, likely a square one, which you can tell by the position of his hips and how he shifted his weight forward, dropping the front heel and elevating the rear. By the way he's caught his opponent's kick from the flat of the foot, you can tell that he didn't catch it and then go for the underhook, because that's not a secure grab like a heel catch would be. What's happening here is he caught the foot and went for the underhook in one timing, simultaneously. If his opponent isn't an amateur and did the kick 10 times in a row, which is obviously unlikely, that means he anticipated the kick, he didn't react to it. So he's likely executing a trap, meaning he gave his opponent the right conditions for him to think it was an opportune moment to use a front kick. In other words, he baited him into doing it. It's overall an amazing scene with excellent detail and a lot of thought put into it. It shows how the ancient Hellenists valued the mind games that are a part of combat sports, but also how much they really didn't like kicks. Seriously, there is not a single vase displaying a kick actually landing on an opponent. They are countered or miss every single time. But that will do it for episode 1 of this series, ? Whether or not I will continue depends entirely on your feedback. So let me know if you enjoyed this, if you found it interesting, if you found...
All right, so and then he goes on to say, this is my Patreon, blah, blah, blah. But those jugs, okay, tell a whole, there's an enormous amount of information, an enormous fucking amount of information there. And if you don't know what you're looking at, you draw all the fucking wrong conclusions all the time. This is true whether you're looking at a base from 500 BC or if you're looking at fucking Donald Trump today. If you don't know what you're looking at and you don't know what to look for, you don't know what it means, you're going to fucking get it wrong. And that's a big deal. Mark Zuckerberg, the guy who was a billionaire before he left Harvard, and his wife, who was also from Harvard, do not suddenly become combat sports enthusiasts overnight. That's not what the billionaire class does. They just fucking don't. There's a reason why he's doing it, and he continues to do it because he wants to be popular with the average guy, the regular Joe on the fucking streets. And what do they like? They like the UFC. They like it more than boxing and more than wrestling. Just like in the ancient world, you could win 80 amphora of olive oil, not just 60 amphora, which you would get for boxing or wrestling. This combat sport, pankration, all skill, has been the most popular combat sport on Earth for millennia, and that matters. That matters because that's the key to popularity, and popularity is the key to winning votes in democracy. Now you say, well, you know, okay, whatever, there's the fucking artistic thing and all this stuff. Yeah, there's all that art. But is that done today? Believe it or not, I have a demo of that exact move on that exact amphora. This is a very short video. It's a 26-second video. But you need to understand that everything done back then is still being done today. There's not a whole lot that's new. And it tickles me to death that people think this is all some new genius shit that they figured out in Japan fucking 200 years ago, because this shit goes way back. Check out this demo.
You're gonna try to catch it as a block, and then once you caught it, then you can bring your hand over. Okay. Then you want to keep you want to hug the leg to your chest here, very tight. Okay? And then very quickly, now you can use the same kind of mechanism that we did, the knee tap. Yeah, but just do it on their hamstring here. So the block should be there. Bring it down.
Well, look at that. The same exact thing. That is a slow motion version of exactly what was on that fucking, exactly what was on the fucking jug. How amazing is that? You think it changes, but it doesn't change. So, and this is, the reason why this is important is because, in terms of, if you look at the ancient world, and I got some stuff on Rome I'm going to show you next week. Every great city in the ancient world, or at least the Greek world, the Hellenistic world, had two things. There were two things that every great city had: a gymnasium, where you could get strong and practice fighting, and a theater. So Athens, Corinth, Delphi, and what was the other one? Nemea, whatever fucking, I can't even think of where that is. But there were four major games. Obviously the Olympics, duh, right? The Olympics is the big one that everyone remembers. But there was the Corinthian Games, the Isthmian Games, the Pythian Games, and the Nemean Games. And all of those city-states had two things that were big public fucking works, which was a gym where you would get strong and practice your boxing, wrestling, or whatever. And there was a theater where you would sit and watch fucking, actors act. So sports ball in the modern era, in modern America, all real big cities, important cities, New York, Chicago, Dallas, LA, have sports stadiums, right? The big stadiums where the pro sports are played. And of course, the movies are everywhere. But sports ball and entertainment are the key to winning over the hearts and minds of the plebs, and the people you don't see that run this government have started to fucking figure that out, and they position their little fucking midgety lizard Jew boy, Mark Zuckerberg, to take advantage of that. And that's just the way it's going to be. That's the way it's going to be, and it helps to know the shape of this in general, because you won't be too surprised by the shit that happens in the future. But Pankration means all skill, meaning boxing skill, wrestling skill. They had boxing, they had wrestling, they had submissions, they call bending fingers. The only thing they didn't have different from today is they didn't have ground and pound. So there was a wrestling component, there was a ground fighting component, but no ground and pound. You didn't smash somebody when they were on the ground. And I think there were no closed fists to the heads. There was a lot of palm strikes to the heads, to the head and face, rather than a closed fist. But that's about the only difference between the UFC rules and the rules back then. And when you realize you're living through kind of a rerun, that's an important realization, right? Because every society is set up to extract value from the bottom to the top. You know what I mean? Some more or less this way or that way. Where's do you remember last week I showed you the fucking shitty fucking what's left of oil platforms in Russia, right? Russia has some lake or some part of the Caspian Sea where they used to have 350 miles worth of roads, and there's all these oil wells that are sucking oil out of the water and blah 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 blah. But it's all so completely fallen into disrepair that the 350 miles of roads and bridges to get to these oil wells is now like 35 miles of usable roads and bridges, and they're rotting daily, right? They're rusted out and rotting. I showed that last week. And, in the video, they go, well, that's because the price of oil is down and blah, 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 blah. But that's not because the price of oil is down, because Russia is ruled by elite level parasites for whom their own personal aggrandizement means everything and your life means nothing. And the purpose of this show is to explain to you there's a new technology that you don't have to allow your fucking life to be robbed from. But not everyone's like Russia. I got a video here. If you think it through, what Russia does with its oil money, we don't fucking know. But here's what Dubai does with its oil money.
What you see here is our Dubai downtown, and this is the Dubai Mall, Fountain, and world famous Burj Khalifa, world tallest building. The developer of this whole area or downtown of Dubai is Emaar Properties. And Emaar Properties are doing something even more significant. They are building a new downtown of Dubai, 3 times the size of our current downtown. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Dubai Creek Harbor, Dubai's new downtown that will be 3 times size of our current downtown. This area is the #1 place to invest, whether you are an investor who want to sell the property after some time, or rent it for short term, or rent it for annual basis. #1 place to invest. Here we have 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, and 3 bedroom houses, apartments. All the essential amenities for a resident to live: hospitals, nurseries, kids play areas, parks, schools. Everything what you need will be here. And the new proposed metro station will cross this area of Dubai Creek Harbor, and it's expected to have 4 stations. Look at this beauty.
So you see the difference between what Russia does with its oil revenue. Fuck it, just put it in my pocket. Let everything rot and fall into back into the fucking sea. versus what Dubai does. They're like, wow, we did this great fucking city. Let's triple the size of the city. So there are people that think that Vladimir Putin and the Russians or something, and nationalism, blah, 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 whatever dumb shit you fucking think. Look at what they're actually doing. Russia and Dubai has endured the same ups and downs of oil prices as everyone else. But Dubai is building shit for everyone. And when they talk about the city, they're like hospitals, parks, schools, right? Do you see fucking Putin doing that? No, he's just fighting with fucking the West over how much fucking he's going to get paid under the table to allow America to extract the mineral wealth of fucking Ukraine out of Ukraine. Which, by the way, all that shit runs through BlackRock. So this is you know, I don't think it could be clearer what the differences are. What you do with your time and your money is tells you a lot, right? It just tells you a lot, and you decide what that's going to look like. You decide what your leaders decide if you had democracy, but you don't really have democracy. You haven't had democracy for fucking more than a fucking 100 years. More than 100 years. What you have instead, you have this shit. This is more bad federal theater. I showed this last week, Patriot, or 2 weeks ago, the Patriot Front. But I got another Patriot Front video that is so comically fucking pathetic that I just felt like I had to show it.
For the second week in a row, a white supremacist group is gathered in downtown Nashville on Lower Broadway. They're carrying flags that have swastikas on them. They're wearing t-shirts that say "Whites Against Replacement."
So blah. All right. So yeah, the Nazis want closed borders or whatever. Listen, did you see? This is downtown Nashville. One, the cops are not looking at them. The cops are looking away. You know why? Because the cops are security. The Nashville PD are security for the FBI guys waving their. I don't know why they thought the black background with the like they had to put the fucking swastika in red against a black background. Ooh, scary. Did you see the fucking people? Everyday Tennesseans, right? What you think of as flyover country people, they just fucking like they don't even fucking care. Nobody cares. You know what I mean? It's that Seinfeld fucking thing where somebody thinks they shout out something outrageous and another guy goes, "You see, nobody cares. Nobody fucking cares." There's this bad federal theater is doing almost nothing. And because I looked at that video, I got some other videos where dark-skinned people pretend to get hysterical over this, but I don't believe it for 2 seconds. They're either doing it for clout on social media, which is most likely, or they're being paid to fucking act hysterical about it, but nobody cares. In the middle of the fucking day, in the middle of Nashville, a bunch of feds acting like feds, and yeah, they can't even get a fucking reaction. They just can't get a reaction. Who fucking cares? Keep that in mind. I mean, they'll keep this up forever and ever. They're like the endless fucking Nazi thing. It's just nonstop. World War II will not fucking end. I think until fiat money ends. Until we defeat the bankers. And good news. Supposedly the guy behind Ethereum. I'm going to show you this guy. I don't know if you've ever seen him. But the imminent approval of the Ethereum ETF makes you think, well, who created this thing? Who's this guy? Whatever. Well, this guy turns out to be a real life dude who you can find. His name is Vitalik Buterin. Supposedly he's Russian. And when you hear the phrase physiognomy is real, take a look at Vitalik Buterin. And this is an old piece of video. This is some years old, maybe, at least 5 or 6 years old, maybe older than that. But here's somebody just decided to stop and ask him questions. And Vitalik doesn't understand you're not supposed to say the quiet part out loud. This is a short video, 13 seconds, but this will give you an understanding of what Ethereum is really about.
Actually, the central banks want to have a chat, and like, why not?
But you're 23 years old and you're saying sentences like, usually the central banks want to talk with me. That's not, it's very rare, I would probably say.
So Ethereum, the Ethereum digital network is the central bankers network from the mouth of the guy who created it. Now, yes, Ethereum is split in two, blah, 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 blah. It's been taken over by American deep state, but its roots is in central banking. So understanding that meme coins and shit coins are going to be a big tool, a widely used tool to manipulate populations is really important to understand. It's really, really important to understand. And if you think they can't do it, this was one of the best fucking. This is a really good example of the enormous fucking power of governments, and particularly of the U.S. government. But did you know? Well, we're going to classify mathematics.
You know, one of the things we argued in our meeting with the White House on AI policy was, look, there are going to be issues that come from AI, but they should be regulated. The regulation should happen at the application level, not at the technology level.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is basically because, like, to regulate math, right, mm-hmm. at the level of the algorithms, like to regulate linear.
And he argued with me when I said that.
Well, yes. So Ben basically said, look, it doesn't make sense because to regulate AI at the technology level, you're regulating math, and of course we're not going to do that. Like, that doesn't make any sense. And you'll recall that what they said was, no, actually,
we can classify math.
We can classify math, and literally, this is verbatim. This is we classified whole entire areas of physics in the nuclear era and made them state secrets, like of the like theoretical
physics,
science of physics. We classified them and made them state secrets, and that research vanished. And we are absolutely capable of doing that again for AI. We will classify any area of math that we think is leading in a bad direction, and it will end.
We are capable of classifying any area of math that we don't like, that we think will lead to a bad end. We did it with physics, with the nuclear weapons, so with nuclear science, and so we'll do it with fucking math. And that's the U.S. government, or the people who run the U.S. government. And so they're going to do this for AI and all the algorithms and all the rest. And it's a more sophisticated version of something they have done previously, right? I mean, they still do the high-low stuff. They'll still do the physical things, but it's a little bit tougher. And while I oftentimes, on a personal level, I do not think much of people who wear horn helmets and call themselves Vikings, but on occasion, the Viking bros step up, and in this is not a Viking bro, this is a Viking chick. But this Viking chick, she knows what the fuck is up. And this is a little over 1 minute video on something I remember bizarrely. I still remember this because I saw it in the newspaper when I was a teenager, and it made no sense to me. At the time, when I was a teenager, I fucking hated communism and communists so much, and like I was fucking whatever. I was this fucking lunatic, probably as the modern day Trump supporters. Thankfully, I didn't. My behavior was not out of line at the time. But here's a Swedish chick who understands a big part of what's fucking of how the world works. 1 minute, 6 seconds. Take a quick fucking hop over to Sweden.
Two politicians in Sweden that was not afraid to criticize Israel ended up being. The first one was Sweden's former Prime Minister Olof Palme. He ended up being shot to death in the streets of Stockholm. Prior to his death, he had been openly criticizing apartheid states, such as the one in South Africa and in Israel. He had even been to a refugee camp in Lebanon and then came out with a statement saying that the way the IDF treated Palestinian children is exactly how the Yazidis treated Jewish children during World War II. Fast forward 17 years after Olof Palme's death. Anna Lindh was a politician in the same political party that Olof Palme had prior been in. She had also openly criticized Israel and their apartheid and how they were treating Palestinians. She was then stabbed to death in a mall. The man who did it was an immigrant from Serbia, and he said in court that it was because he was hearing voices. But after he had revoked his citizenship to Sweden, he came out and said that he never did hear voices. It was just fraud and shady dealings. Rest in peace, Olof Palme and Anna Lindh.
So it's not just John F. Kennedy. It's not just whatever, James Garfield, Andrew Jackson, Abraham Lincoln. If you are a political leader and you openly oppose bankers or their client state, you will find yourself coming to a scarlet conclusion. And nobody wants to do that. Trump, in a weird sort of twisted way around, thinks that he did that sort of, and he beat fate or whatever, and now he can recreate the world in the way that he thinks. Like, the first thing he fucking did after I just saw him, he said, well, if they don't give the fucking hostages back, they better give the hostages back. That's such an empty threat. If you actually had a policy or a plan, you wouldn't fucking say it on national TV. If you had a way of punishing the Hamas for taking hostages, you wouldn't say it on national TV. You wouldn't publicly threaten them. That's fucking weakness, right? That's an empty fucking threat. And the dudes over there, the Hamas people, the Iran people, the Lebanon people, the rest, the Houthis, they know it's an empty threat. They don't get, and by the way, they don't give a fuck if it's an empty threat or it's a potent threat, because they're gonna fucking do what they're gonna do no matter fucking what. And Donald Trump is going to find out the hard way over the next 4+ years or so that TV is not reality. I have a strong intuition that while American history books will make Trump out to be fucking a titanic figure, the reality of what happens foreign policy wise in the next 4 fucking years or more is going to be nightmare level for the U.S. And the people who still believe that the Stars and Stripes stands for freedom or whatever, because it doesn't. For those of us who understand that the best way we can quicken the creation of a new world is to destroy the U.S. dollar. And the way you destroy the U.S. dollar is to, though we all have to work in it and earn in it, change your dollars into something they can't see, can't take away. If you can do that, and I do that, and others have done that, you reduce their power, though you don't see it right away, right? It's not drones and bombs, and it's a non-violent protest saying, you know what, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not going to let you do this in my name anymore. And it's the only thing you can do. Because if you sit there and think, oh well, I'll keep my house this way, or I'll burn, you will not change their economic system from within their economic system. It's just not going to happen. We're at the bottom, they're at the top, and the longer you play their game, the more you're going to lose. So don't do that. So don't fucking do that. Don't do that, because these people have no fucking limits. They have no fucking limits. I got one more video. It's a pretty red-haired girl from America who kind of think where you're just living your life and doing your fucking job, and you stumble across something that really kind of breaks open your entire fucking world. And because this is also sort of vaguely related to the job that I do when I'm carrying boxes of body parts. This grabbed my fucking ear, and I thought, you know what? It's worth watching for 2 minutes and 20 seconds.
Time spent travel nursing. I worked at a hospital and I was floated onto a floor that I didn't normally go to. And they specialized in organ transplants. And within 5 minutes of me being on the floor that day and getting a report, I heard someone make a comment about, oh, haha, it's okay, half the floor is Israeli anyway. And I didn't really know what that meant. So I asked the girl that was about to give me a report, and she was like, oh, yeah, like half our floor at any given moment are Israeli citizens that have come here for healthcare, which I didn't really think much of. I was like, oh, okay, they're flying in. Okay. It wasn't until I sat down with one of my Israeli patients and she talked me through the whole thing, that I realized what was going on. Israeli citizens are given the option. If there's a U.S. hospital that has a procedure that is not offered in Israel, or if there's a U.S. hospital that is better at a procedure than a hospital in Israel, or if the Israeli organ donation centers don't have a good match for them, they come to the U.S. and receive our organs from our citizens. I don't know how it's happening, but I have a very high suspicion that some of these Israeli citizens are being fast-tracked on the wait list for U.S. organs. In specific, because one of the patients I was taking care of had received a double heart and lung transplant, and they had only been in the country for less than a week. How do you get matched and then become a recipient of such a important set of organs after waiting only a week? More than that, for any Israeli citizen that is brought here, their flight to the U.S. is covered. Their stay while in the United States, their stay in the hospital, which, mind you, for the average person receiving a organ transplant or a high-level procedure where they will need to be hospitalized for up to 2 weeks afterwards, that's $7 during my.
So what that chick is saying is that literally Israeli citizens get to fucking take American organs that would be given to Americans if they match. Now it's a complex medical procedure with your organs. There are 6 factors that need to be matched. You need to have at least 3 factors in common with the donor in order for there to be compatibility. And the higher, of course, the better. But the reason why David Rockefeller got 8 fucking heart transplants is because he's David Rockefeller. And I don't know, all sorts of people became all sorts of rich, making sure that David Rockefeller got heart transplant after heart transplant, and they cracked his fucking chest open. They probably didn't even fucking wire it shut anymore. They probably just put a fucking hinge in there so they could fucking get back in easy. That there are Israelis who can come to the U.S. and essentially steal American organs, like heart and fucking. But by the way, heart and fucking lungs, you ain't got long to fuck it. Like the idea, like you gotta understand, if you need a heart and fucking lungs, you are done. you're not making it to the end of the fucking year. You know what I mean? You're not making it from fucking from Halloween to Christmas, probably. But whatever, they don't care. They just take every fucking thing. And when you understand that is the mindset, that is the worldview you're fucking dealing with, you think, well, I would like to fight that. I would like to push back against it. You know, how could I do that without running afoul of federal law enforcement? And the answer is, what is the fucking answer? The answer is to trade their shitty fucking slavery coupons, trade their paper promises for something that they can't inflate away or steal. So that's the only fucking answer, because we're not going back to fucking, carrying fucking 6 guns and fucking stuff. Training gun. Beep, beep, beep. You're not going to go back to carrying gold coins and 6 guns like cowboy gangs. You're not going to fucking do that, right? We're not going backwards that way, technologically. So you have to look at, what does the future look like? And pick the brightest future for you and your progeny. And even if you don't have progeny, maybe childbirth is not in the cards for you. Certainly was not in the cards for me. Though I practiced diligently, you could at least make fucking sure that every fucking Satoshi Bitcoin you have does not fall into their fucking hands. At the end of the day, the fact that you can deny that forever, that they can never have what you fucking worked for, is a much, much fucking bigger deal than you think. It is a much bigger deal than you think. Holy crap, look at this. We're like an hour and 27 minutes. And I didn't even expect it to go this long. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. But luckily I have tomorrow off. What else? What the fuck else is going on? All the nuclear stuff. Oh, what's going on nuclear-wise? 3 Mile Island, they're going to reopen it. They made a movie called The China Syndrome right after this thing fucking squirted some supposedly radioactive fucking steam into the fucking sky in fucking 1977. It's bullshit. Nothing ever happened. Biden signs bill bolstering nuclear power. Here we go. This might be a little surprising. Maybe not surprising if you know about Einstein and who he stole his ideas from. But Italy seeks to bring, or a bill seeks to bring. I think things blocked. Bring nuclear power back to Italy. Bringing nukes to the Med. You're talking about some hot fucking lasagna here, bro. Cuchilongo. What about Jessica Savage? I have no idea who Jessica Savage is. Cuchilongo. She must be someone in your spank bank or someone. I have no idea. I don't know who you're talking about or what's going on with her. I don't know. Who is she? Jessica Savage. No, that's not a name that rings any fucking bells. What rings bells to me is this. I live and I work and I have to produce value, right? I have to fucking transact in slavery coupons issued by central bankers. Whether you think they wear small hats and donate bacon, or you think something else, right? The reality is people you don't know and you don't elect and you have no power over can fucking make you fucking wealthy and prosperous or starving and homeless, and you have no control over it. So continuing in that system is as fucking stupid as stupid can be. So after fucking, I don't know how many fucking decades on this planet, I've decided, hey, you know what? I don't want to be stupid. I'm going to go do this thing over here. I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to fucking try to build something which is not based on corruption, not based on cheating, not based on changing the rules, not based on unfair advantages. That's what I'd like to do. If you'd like to do that as well, you can join us anytime you want. And we have a saying in Bitcoin: you get Bitcoin at the price you deserve. So while you sit there and rationalize and do all sorts of stupid shit, you know, we're going to create something that they can't stop, and that's a much bigger deal than you think. Kuchalango in the chat. She was a journalist who got ran off the road. So did Karen Silkwood, supposedly. Silkwood, an anti-nuclear activist back in the 70s. Who was it? It was, what's his name? The chick who everyone says the greatest female actress ever. Can't remember. I can picture her. I can't. I went to see the movie Silkwood too. I saw all those anti-nuke propaganda movies when I was a kid. China Syndrome, Silkwood, and all the other fucking shit. I am pro-nuclear as well, by the way. Good for you, Kuchalango. I am pro-nuclear as well. Like I said, I was out in the Hamptons water. There's actually a winery that's called itself Hamptons Water. This is some Sauvignon Blanc. Here's the problem. I don't get the problem. Committed to sustainability. Are there wineries that are not committed to sustainability? Is there some kind of winery where they go, let's just grow the grapes for this year and fuck it, let them fall apart next year? This is okay, to be honest. Paid $22 plus tax. It's all right. It's a touch bitter in the aftertaste and a bit minerally relative to other Sauvignon Blanc that I've drunk. But all in all, pretty clean. If they could reduce the bitterness, I could live with the minerality. Meryl Streep, that's right. Yes, Meryl Streep, the greatest actress on God's green earth, played Karen Silkwood. Damn, Kuchalango, you got that fucking Hollywood shit. Are you Googling? Be honest. Are you Googling right now? Like I say shit, and you're like, open a separate window. You got some fucking gaming computer with, like 39 gazillion gigahertz that you can have 10 windows open at once. Yeah, Meryl Streep. I remember watching that film. And I don't know, like, really, my generation was the last generation where we're like, there was that push, like, you have to watch this. This is one of the reasons why I hate these fucking shitty fucking virtue signaling fucking communist films, like the must-watch film of the year, the Oscar contender. If you only see one film this year, and that worked on us back in the day. It doesn't work on us today, and they use different methods. But Jesus fucking Christ, like the video I showed with the feds pretending to be Nazis. I looked at the comment section, and the comment section was all supposedly black people going, "Oh my God, we have to do something about this. We have to fight back." Blah 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 blah. And at first, I instantly reacted, and I'm like, wait a minute. Am I even reacting to real fucking comments? This is a Fed video, right? Where they're waving their fucking flag. Oh look, Nazis in the middle of America. Oh yeah, all those guys like your fathers and your grandfathers, a lot of people, who went overseas and actually killed the Nazis, were somehow, question mark, their grandchildren became the Nazis. Okay. Why the fuck am I going to buy this? Nobody buys this. But if you look at the comment section, there's all these black people like, oh, that's a white Ku Klux Klan, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, wait a minute, it's a Fed video shot by the Feds, filmed by the Feds, starring the Feds, paid for by our tax dollars. Why the fuck would you think that the comment section is a legitimate comment section written by real people who were terrified by this? This is all a kind of what's not broadcasting, but a narrowcast. They look at what you look at, then they feed you very carefully curated videos and comment sections to get you to incite you to do something stupid, right? And listen, it's a great fucking. I wish I could fucking do this because you get paid to do stupid shit. Nobody fucking actually gets hurt because nobody's leaving their fucking house to go do anything because some jerk walked around fucking with a red flag, not a with a swastika on, black flag with swastika. It's like the best gold bricking do nothing job ever fucking created. Man, I so fucking. If only I would have understood what I know. If only I knew now, or what I knew then, what I knew now, I would have been a very different kid in my 20s. Would have been a very, very, very different kid. But I understand that what little value I have in this world is this. One, I can deny the central bankers their control over my life by trading their slavery coupons, their Federal Reserve notes, their fiat currency, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what you're comfortable with. Trading that for something they don't own and they don't control, and that's worked out pretty well for me. And it will work out pretty well for you today, next week, next year, next month, next year. Because exiting their system is the fucking ideal. Fiat currency is a system, Neo, and that system is our enemy. Every Nazi has something better to do on Sunday, I suppose. Well, but you get double federal overtime. You know what I mean? Every Nazi is a Fed. Every single one. There were no fucking. I went to fucking Charlottesville. There were no fucking Nazis in Charlottesville. There were no real Nazis. The Nazi Party ended 90 fucking years ago. And all this is, if you understood history, which you don't, because you're a fucking pathetic, malformed dork who has no social skills, no athletic skills, no musical fucking skills, no any other fucking skills. Think, oh, I'll just virtue signal this thing, and then every good thing will come to me. Well, you're as dumb as the fucking Jews who think that they own the fucking earth, right? You're as dumb as the fucking Trump pumpers who think that, oh, if I just love Trump enough, he'll fix the potholes and he'll fucking whatever, you know, my uncle, my cousins, whatever, the veterans who are being poorly treated, he'll fix that. Like you are as delusional when you personally have no plan, no ability, and no skills to get what you want. You begin to fucking emotionally attach yourself. You begin to fucking transfer your energy to some savior, whatever that savior looks like. Maybe you're a religious person, maybe it's a cultural thing, maybe it's a fucking government person. But when you have no fucking idea and you're powerless and helpless, and you choose to be that, I don't make you that, and even they can't make you that. you choose to believe that there's no way I can have what I want. There's no way my dreams can come true. There's no way I can improve my life. So I have to support Trump, hate Trump, whoever the fuck it is. This polarizing figure, that polarizing figure. If I just virtue signal hard enough, this set of ideas or that set of ideas, then somehow, question mark, every good will fall in my lap. That's not how shit works. You have to decide what do you really fucking want and how the fuck do you get it. What do I need to do first? What do I need to do second? What do I need to do third? What do I got to do to get it? Because no one's going to do it for you. No one's going to do it for you. And if someone does do it for you, your mom, your grandmother, your grandfather, whoever, it leaves you helpless and fucking weak so that when they're gone, all that good, whatever that perceived good is also gone. So be smarter than that. Learn to do it for yourself. Learn to make whatever you want to happen, whatever you want in your life, figure it out for yourself. You got no social skills? Get some social skills. You got no athletic skills? Go fucking train your body to be stronger, faster, more rhythmic, more athletic, whatever. You know what I mean? Just do it. You have to fucking do it. And the more you take control over your life like that, particularly your economic life, the better off you're going to be. The better off you're going to be. By the way, this $24 bottle of Hampton water, to be honest, it's okay. I don't think it's worth double what I normally pay, but it is what it is. But with that, where are we? We're at fucking Jesus Christ, nearly 2 fucking hours. I gotta get up tomorrow and go to the fucking gun range or something like that. It's gonna be too hot tomorrow, my red boomer site. I think I'm gonna go somewhere indoors and practice sending hot lead downrange at paper targets. All right, paper targets. That's probably what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Anyway, with that, Cuchalongo, who has completely spammed the fucking chat. It's like 900 messages, bro. Judas Flychai, everyone else that is going, that is lingered in the background, and will show up in the coming week. I will ask you to smash the like button, and I will talk to you guys again next week, but things are about to get real fucking interesting. The divorce between America's perceived strength and ability, Donald Trump's perceived strength and ability, and the reality of what happens in the world, I think it's going to be vast. I do not think that Golden Boy is going to win over the fucking psychos in the desert, but we shall have to see. Anyway, Cuchalongo, Judas Flychai, everyone else, who, like I said, who is lurking in the chat and who will show up or has shown up in the coming week. Thank you for stopping by, and I will talk to you guys again next week.